So, hello. I'm up and I'm stuck. I wish I wasn't. But I'm gonna go over this movie that I was going to talk about, but I never got a chance to. So this movie, it was so weird. Like it was trippy at the end, honestly. Two couples, and they walked into this little um retail housing um housing retail agency, and um they was introduced to all of a different living. I guess it was a whole bunch of different houses that was the same. And the guy was so weird. Like he was really, really strange. You would have thought he was a robot. That's how he was acting. So they wound up he was like, well, I can take you to the houses and stuff to see the neighborhood and give you like a tour of the home if you would like. They didn't want to at first, but then they wound up going. So they went to they followed him to the neighborhood, and he was introduced to him to the house. Introduced to them, giving the tour to the house through the house, and they had like a baby's room, and it's like a home for eternity. So it's like a lifetime home. Once you move in, they like you ain't moving out. So after he gave them a tour, he led them into the backyard. She did mention that she did want kids later on though. So yeah, but he led them into the backyard, closed the door, and let them get a look at the backyard. She turned around and asked him how long would this home be available. He told her. Well, no, he didn't tell her. When she went to go look for him, and he was gone. So they started freaking out. They're like, "Hold up, where did he go? How did he just leave?" So then they got in the car, and they wound up leaving, but they couldn't find a way out. It was like a maze. So they kept going and around the neighborhood, and it seemed like they was going in circles the whole time. So eventually, they ran out of gas, and they stopped directly in front of the home that they was looking to eventually move into. So these eyelashes is killing me right now. Hmm. So they wound up like getting on the roof and stuff and searching to see if there was like any good view of like a highway or something like that. But all he seen was all these houses. He seen the same exact house, the same exact yard. Like it was all the same everywhere. So he was like, we're gonna figure it out, don't panic. So they going through the backyard, through everybody's backyard thinking they about to ghost them. I'm like, first of all, it don't even look like nobody lives there. It's like an empty town. So eventually they come, they're like, oh, this place got a light on. I'm already thinking like that's their house. That's your house. Y'all just did all that and y'all came back to your house. So they wound up going inside and it wound up being their house. So then they was just like, you know what? They chalked it up. Did I say that they ran out of gas? I think I did. So then they went, chalked it up, looked in the refrigerator. There was a bottle of wine, and they sat down, they drank that, and they wound up going to sleep. So then the next morning, they woke up, and it was just trying to figure out how to get out of there. And like each day kept passing by, going by, and then eventually one day they went outside, and there was a box. There was a box of food. So they got the food, but then the guy got angry and he wound up torching the house. I'm like, well, there go y'all food. Y'all ain't eating so many days, and this y'all food. You just torched the food. And she was like, what did you just do? Like, and he was like, well, I'm setting the house on fire, so, you know, it's like a search and rescue, SOS. I think that's signaling out SOS help. They also wrote help on a roof, on the rooftop of their home. So the home burnt up, and then the next morning there was another box in the road, and this box had a baby. I'm like, wow. At first I'm just thinking because I was just like starstruck, like, oh my gosh, like, what if y'all had the opportunity to move into this home? All of these homes. First of all, I'm just like, what intrigued me was the homes were all alike. I'm like, so there is no really competition. There's no jealous of your house because your house is the same as mine. You know, it's like, what if all of our homes were identical and we had like nothing to worry about? Basically gray areas. It's all gray areas. It makes you tap into yourself. You know, it makes you, attention is right here. Like, we don't have nothing to worry about, and attention is just fully on ourselves. You know, everything's the same, so it's like there's no competition. There's nothing to really be concerned about. There's no, you know, all of the things that we worry about nowadays, we don't have to worry about this because everything is exactly the same. So then I'm thinking about this, but as I go along further in the movie, I'm just like, I don't know. You know, I just chalked up that whole idea. But then, like, they got food, you know, so they set, you know, every day there's some food coming for them, you know, and then, and then there's a baby. So this box, the person left the box, the baby in a box, and they just looking at this baby like, what? No, like, oh my gosh. So they got the baby, and they wound up raising the baby. This baby was a little boy, and he had like a deep voice. Like, his voice sounded like the retailer, if I'm saying that right. The person who sold him the home. That's what it sounded like. I mean, that's what that baby sounded like. It sounded like him. I'm like, what the heck? Like, so he's so adorable and he's so cute up until he started talking. Then it's just like, whoa, you sound like a grown man right now. So, after that, so they raised this baby, and this little boy, like, he was always watching TV. Like, the TV screen was like it was like a Matrix looking thing, like a Matrix. It was like Matrix, not like people, but it was like a whole bunch of lines on the screen, and that's what he was watching. But you know, as time went on, you know, they was laying in the grass, and she was just, you know, explaining to him like the he was like, what's that cloud look like? What's that cloud look like? And he was like, they all look the same. And she was like, yeah, that's the point. Where I'm from, you know, you see a cloud and it's different from the other cloud, but all of these clouds are the same. Like, she was just going out of her mind, and she started howling like a wolf. Like, it was so weird. So her husband he spent every single day digging in the yard. Like, he smoked cigarettes, and he just kept digging, like, trying to find a way out. Because one day it was another box. Like, they were sitting outside waiting for it to catch the person who was leaving the boxes. And I guess it was, no, the box had disappeared because after they done with their food, they put the box in the road, and they was waiting for the guy to come get it so they could see who it was. And all of a sudden the box was gone. So then they discovered, like, he threw something. He flicked his ashes on the ground, and the ashes kind of made the grass, like, it didn't burn away. Like, the grass, like, kind of ran away from the smoke, like, spread away from the smoke. So it was like a hole. And he was like, whoa. So he started digging. He was like, it got to be a way out. So then I'm just thinking, like, I don't know why I was thinking spontaneously about the situation. I'm just like, wow, you know, this is like a whole new life for you. Until I figured out what happened in the end, and I was like, oh no. So, the little boy, he was always going off, and like one day he met somebody, and she was like, and this changed her whole mind about him. She met somebody, and the boy was like, she was like, what did she was like, let's play a game. You imitate everybody that you know. So he imitated her, he imitated the guy, and he imitated the dog. And then eventually, she was like, and there was no dogs, they just told him about a dog and what a dog does. So eventually, she was like, well, imitate anybody else that you have recently met. And he started imitating this person. Well, it must not have been the person because his neck started getting real big, and he started making like a bird sound. I'm like, what the heck? And like, she just freaked out, and she never looked at that little boy the same. At first, she was like treating that little boy like it was her son. Like, she was very protective over him. Like, one time, her guy had locked the little boy in a car and was like, you're not getting out. And she ran, like, probably an hour later, she ran in there and got him out. But he locked him in there and was like, well, if they want him to live, they'll come for him. And she was like, no, I'm not having it. She wound up getting him out. So over, I guess, let's say about 90 days, the guy wound up being an adult. So like I said, after that happened, she never looked at the little boy the same. So then the guy kept digging and digging and digging, and then one day he came to something, like he found something and it freaked him out. And it was like an empty bag with a body inside. And I didn't find this out till later on. But he was getting sick, I guess, from all the digging. And his lungs was like failing. I guess the food wasn't good. Wasn't good for them. But that's the thing. Like, just think about it. They was eating food that had no taste. There was no taste in this food. I'm like, everything is the same. All the houses are the same. The lifestyle is the same. Every single home. And then you got food with no taste. I'm like, what? Like, taste of food is just an illusion. It's just an illusion? Like, really? Like, what if our food had no taste? Like, we wouldn't want to eat. Therefore, it makes you question, like, is food really important? You know, did we create the illusion of the taste of food and how we wanted it to taste? You know, I know the taste stimulates the mind, but that's just something we put together. Like, what if food actually had no taste? Like, and they was just eating, like they was living and eating normal. But I guess the fact that it had no taste, or the fact that they are already adapted to a certain lifestyle, that this lifestyle is kind of weighing in on them. Like, they started hallucinating. You know, they was really weak. They was eating food every single day, as they should, but they were dying. So it's like, wow, like that makes you really think. Like, this movie makes you really think. And I've been holding on to this for like a while. Like, I think I watched this movie probably like a few days ago, and I've been holding on to it, just thinking about it. Like, what? Um, so then he started getting sick, and she was just holding him and rocking him, and um, and I just kept thinking, I'm like, what got them? Like, why them two specifically? Why these two people? Like, they didn't have no kids. They were together. They were madly in love with each other. Like, this type of love you don't see regularly. Like, this was a rare type of love that they had for each other. But then there was this one time where he got so mad because they was dancing outside to the radio. Because they phone had their car ran out of gas, so they had the radio. That's the only thing that they got. Like, the battery of the car was still good, so they turned on the radio and they was dancing. But then he picked up, like, the little boy came outside and started dancing with him. But he tripped over the dude tripped over the little boy, and he got mad and picked up the kid and slammed him on the ground. This kid wasn't no ordinary kid because he didn't get hurt from it. And obviously that's the way that they found out. But what if he was a real kid, like, and he slammed him like that? Like, I was just like, that would have changed my mind about him. Like, how you just gonna pick up this kid and just slam him on the ground because you fell and bumped your head from dancing and the kid wanted to dance? I'm like, what the heck is wrong with you? So yeah, that happened. I just kind of changed my mind about him for real. So he was just like, he was sleeping outside too, and that's probably one of the reasons why he got sick. But I think it was just actually the food. Like, the food, they had no taste of the food. They were just basically eating without any taste. So maybe, he was smoking his cigarettes, like constantly smoking his cigarettes. I'm like, where's he getting these cigarettes from? Like, unless they come in a box, that they get their stuff. But he was constantly smoking the cigarettes, and it's just like what the heck? So then, um, he wound up dying in her arms, and I'm thinking like the guy was getting revenge because as a child, remember that I was like, the guy had locked a little boy in a car to make him die. So until he died, like, he didn't care. So I'm thinking that when he got older, he kind of getting revenge. And she was like, what am I gonna do? Don't leave him like this. Like, he's about to die. And then the other guy was like, well, something about it's his time or something like that. I forgot what he said. He said something. Maybe it's just his time or something like that. He shrugged and he walked away. So then he died, and she was in the car asleep because he wouldn't let her in the house. Um, I wouldn't be comfortable. It's me and my dude, and then this random grown man that was just a child sitting in my home. Like, he literally was just giving off demon vibes. But so then, I was like, so basically he dug his grave because the hole that he was digging, he wound up tossing his body into that hole. And I'm like, that's the same way, obviously, that body he discovered down in a hole with a bag over it was the same. He died the same way that he just died. I'm like, wow, but he never told his girlfriend what he found, and that's what kind of like had me confused. Like, I was perplexed, like, what? Like, why wouldn't you tell her? But he didn't tell her. Maybe he was too weak, but he was talking a lot. He could have told her, but he didn't. So he wound up dying. The demon man wound up burying him, and then it was just her. So she's just, she wound up getting old, like, not old, but she wound up getting to the point where she about to die, and she came out, and like they would, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff, it's a lot of things, a lot that I'm skipping, but yeah, I'm just getting to the point. So this part confused me because she wound up following him one time because she got mad at him, and she did something, and I think she hit him with something. She hit him with like she hit him with a shovel, and he got mad and looked at her and turned, and then he went into like this little form, like a demon type form, and crawled under the yard. Like, he lifted up the sidewalk and crawled under, and she wound up catching it in time and went under with him. And she was just basically falling down. It's like falling down a rabbit hole of every experience of every person that he ever tricked into living there. So it was like this couple that was having sex, this lady that was just sitting there with the child just eating, kind of just out of it. And it was just different people that I guess lived there and died the same way that they did, being tricked into his little trick, you know. So eventually, she died, and then he wound up zipping her up in this. It's a vacuum bag, like one of them vacuum Ziploc bags that they make nowadays for clothes. They was putting bodies into those. So he wound up zipping her up, and she was like, her last word was like, "I'm not your fucking mom," as he called her mom. And then he wound up putting her into the hole with him, and then that's when um, he put the dirt in there, like he buried him, covered the hole, and it was the grass magically, resurfaced around the area and the home, and he fixed up the home, and it was like a brand new house. And then after that, he went and replaced the other retailer. Um, he replaced him because the guy was dying, so he replaced him. He put him in a Ziploc bag, folded him, and put him in a drawer. And then he sat down waiting for the next couple to come in. And then the next couple came in, and he stood up, introduced himself, and the whole cycle went all over again. Like, the way it was just like, it was so trippy. I'm just like, what the heck just happened? Like, all my good thoughts, all my little ideas, all my little, I was just imagining a world like that up until I got deeper into the movie and I seen everything happen. I was just like, whoa, that just killed everything inside of me. Like, wow, that was crazy. It was a crazy movie. So yeah, that's the movie. Like, comment, subscribe, be notified, share at your own free will to show you here. All right.